Going through life like this sucks. One of my clients used to call this her bubble. Don't live in a bubble. You can't be effective in life and live in a bubble. Let's talk about it on the live. Good morning, good morning. We are on 7 platforms this morning across everywhere. We're on a platform in Europe. We're on TikTok. Good morning, TikTok. How are you guys? Good morning. So, what am I talking about when I go like this? What is this? This is fear. Okay, this is fear. One of my clients used to call this her bubble. Okay, and I thought that was kind of funny in a way, but she called it her bubble. Okay, other people call it the box. Because you can't get out of the box, you can't think out of the box, right? That kind of thing. So anyway, what is necessary to get out of this way of thinking? Okay, this represents anxiety. This represents fear. This represents hesitation. All the negative emotions are rooted in fear, basically. Fear is at the heart of all negative emotions. Good morning. Good morning, my thoughts. Fear is at the very foundation of everything negative, okay? Now, what's at the other end? What's at the positive end? It's love. Love and fear, okay? Now, most of us, the majority of us, were born into love, okay? We were born into love. We were born from love, okay? So we start with that energy. Then what happens? Well, life happens. And when life happens, fear happens. Things that make us fearful. Now, in the beginning of life, in the beginning stages of life, we hear things from our parents, right? We hear things like, don't go near the stove, you'll get burnt. Don't go near the road, you'll get hit by a car. Those kinds of things. With the best of intentions, okay? With the best of intentions. Now, when it comes to things like manifestation, when it comes to things like, attaining your goals or achieving your goals. Good morning, Giselle. When it comes to things like, making things happen in your world, it can't happen if you're fearful. If you're fearful, it won't play out the way it's supposed to. And this is why when people get older, when they get into their 40s, right, they just start finding their footing, okay? But you can find your footing now. You can find your footing almost immediately. And what does it take? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. If you do all those 4 directed at one thing, it has to happen. It's universal law, okay? It cannot not happen. You cannot not be successful if you keep taking baby steps. Now, you may not get there the way you think. You may not get there the way you want to, but you will get there, okay? You just have to keep taking the steps. Now, this is fear, okay? This is the opposite of love. This is fear, okay? This represents, I'm holding myself back. This represents, I had this idea, but then I canceled it. I put it off. I procrastinated. Procrastination is rooted in fear. So when you get this intuitive thought, and your intuitive thought says, okay, let's do this. Let's do this project. Let's join that club. Let's do, right? And then your left brain starts kicking in, and your left brain says, you remember what happened the last time you joined the club, right? You didn't follow up on the meetings. You didn't, you see? So your left brain will rationalize you away from that. But when you start getting into what fear really is, okay, fear is not necessarily the horror movie kind of fear. Okay, that's a type of fear, okay? But radio commercials make you fearful. Television commercials, things online make you fearful. Things scare you all the time. Fear is a thought. You can get rid of anxiety, you can get rid of fear, you can get rid of all these things if you change your thinking. There is only the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. Okay, now you can get rid of all of these things, but you have to be clear in here. Okay, this one has to be good, okay? Because everything out there reacts to everything in here. So how do you change this one? Well, affirmations, write it, okay? I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. Okay, those kinds of things. So, you know, my clients are actually high performance professionals. I'm not here for clients. I'm not here speaking this morning for clients. This is my public service work, okay? This is my dharma, as they say in India, they say dharma, okay? And I'm here to spread the word, or to share the message, or to elaborate on the fact that you can solve all of your problems, but you have to look in here. Because we have eyes, we look out there. Because we have eyes, we look outside of ourselves. Okay, but the kingdom is in here. Jesus told us the kingdom is in here. Okay, many people have told, Krishna said the kingdom is in here. Okay, so, you know, it's really a decision that you need to make to look in here rather than out there. Okay, there's a lot of distractions out there, right? Okay, now in the process of being distracted, when you get fearful, you start going like this. Okay, when my clients come to me, they're like this. Even my teenage clients, okay, and they're younger, they have less fear, but they're like this. Okay, and slowly they relax, slowly they relax, slowly they open, and then like that. Another visual would be like this, and they open, and they open, and they open, and they open. What happens when fear happens? Human beings close. They close when fear happens. They don't open up, right? They retreat. When you retreat in here. Some people hide in here. Some people never come out of here. Some people hide in here forever. Some people hide in here their whole lives, okay? And they're very fearful. Look at all the people with masks on right now, right? They're wearing masks for no good reason, but they're wearing masks because they were taught to wear masks during the pandemic, right? And now there's a trust issue. They don't trust not wearing a mask, you see? So that's you know, part of the fear, okay? Part of the fear I'm talking about. They're not walking around scared. They're not walking around scared like a horror movie kind of scared. It's not that kind of fear, okay? But it's the kind of fear that affects your vibration. It's the kind of fear that affects your vibration to the point where you start thinking about it. You start thinking about it, and thoughts become things. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. If you keep thinking a fearful thought, okay, like, oh, I better wear my mask because I could get sick, I could catch a virus, you know, there's, right? That kind of thing, that kind of thinking. Okay, so it becomes a belief, and the belief, right, if we look at the tree again, okay, I always use the tree because it's easy to understand. The belief is your subconscious, which are the roots of the tree. Over here, you got roots, okay? Then you have the body of the tree, or the trunk of the tree. This is your paradigm. Your paradigm is the way you see the world based upon what you believe down here. Okay, then up here are the fruits in the tree. And these are your actions. These are your responses. These are your conditioned responses based upon what you believe. Okay, now if you've been conditioned to believe something, okay, what are some conditioned beliefs? Well, you know, some conditioned beliefs are like, don't go near the stove, you'll get burned. Okay, as you get older, maybe the conditioned beliefs become a little bit more severe. Okay, well, if you do something wrong, you'll go to hell, you're burning in hell, you know. If you can imagine a spirit burning, good luck on that one. Okay, don't get me started on 501c3 churches. Okay, but there's a lot of fear out there is what I'm saying. You can escape the fear through your thoughts. Okay, how do you change your thoughts? Well, you get one of these. Okay, you get one of these and you start writing, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Okay, now you'll feel this over time. Okay, over time, and usually 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks to shift. Okay, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. It takes 2 weeks to shift that. Hey Trex, good morning. It takes 2 weeks to start to feel the shift. Now, how long does it take, Uncle, to, you know, change my entire feeling about this thing, to install a new belief? Okay, to install a new belief, 66 days. Okay, just keep doing it for 66 days. If you do it for 66 days, you'll start to have that anchored belief, okay? The anchored belief. Now, conditioned belief is things that we're told. Okay, now back in the day, we had limited media. Now we have more media. Back in the day, we only had a few network TV stations, only a few network radio stations. Okay, so things were easy. It was easy to influence the populace in that way. Okay, so you need to be a free thinker. Okay, you need to get away from conditioned beliefs. Okay, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, we're conditioned over social media. We're conditioned over a lot of things. So any place that you get information, consider the source. Always consider the source of information. Okay, now how do you go from this to confident? Well, the fastest way is through your voice. The fastest way for a human being to achieve, let's say, calm, let's say, no anxiety, no overthinking, okay? It slows down overthinking and it makes it go away. It's your voice, okay? Your voice does that, okay? Another thing is when you start doing your affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization, these things start to go from you. They start to leave you because fear cannot exist where confidence is. You need to be confident first. Okay, I meet a lot of people that come to me. A lot of my clients come to me and I say, well, we need to work on your confidence. And they say, oh, I'm confident. I'm confident, Uncle. I'm confident. There's no problem with that. Or sometimes people will bring their children to me, right? And they said, well, my son needs to work on this and this and that. And I said, well, he probably needs to work on his confidence. And they say, oh, no, he's confident. I'm like, okay, all right. And then when I meet them, right, they display many signs of, let's say the lack of confidence. And then we have to build the confidence in them. Okay. When you go to our reviews and stuff, you only see 5-star reviews. And this is because we know how to work with human beings, okay? We work with God's biggest miracle. Okay, if you want to see God's biggest miracle, go look in the mirror. It's in the mirror. Most people don't understand like how magnificent of a creation they are. They take it for granted. They look in the mirror, they see something, right? They're like, it's another day, right? Okay, you need to start appreciating that because you only have so much time, and your time, your life is your time. And you only have so much time. Why not enjoy this time that you have? Okay, most people are so like this. Most people are so like this that they cannot enjoy their time. They're at work, they're like this. After work, they're like this. Why? Because they come home, they have to deal with kids, they have to deal with family, they have to deal with cooking dinner, they have to, right? And then they have that 1 hour or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours if they're lucky, to rest before they or kick back or do what they want to do, right? Me time, before they go to sleep. And then they sleep, and then they wake up, and they go like this again, and they're facing the day like this again, okay? Because it's conditioned. You have to understand it's conditioned through your subconscious. So these people that are going to therapy, these people that are, doing these things to unwind, so to speak, unwind. Okay, they're unwinding for a reason because they're wound too tight inside, I used to hang out with this guy. He was Hawaii's most famous entertainer at one point. And I hung out with him. And the first thing he told me is, you need to learn to relax. And I didn't understand what he was talking about because I was only 17 years old. But as I got older, I understood, relaxing is confidence. When you start relaxing, you clear up in here. This starts to calm down. This starts to, what I call go to base level. Now, base level, okay, for those of you that, okay, what is that? Base level is when you're clear. And how many people are clear, right? Somebody's always thinking about something, right? Now, in this day and age, right, we're on here. We're like this. We're scrolling. We're doing this. When we're not doing something else, we're doing this. So stimulus is a big part of our society. Okay, stimulus is a huge part of our society. Now, if you're in a state of stimulus, how can you relax? Okay, it's just one form after the other. dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, and then what? How are you going to relax like that? Okay, so you need to put a vibrational timeout in the middle. Okay, you need to make time for meditation. You also need time to pray. Okay, so prayer, meditation, okay, visualization, vocalization, affirmations. You need to do these things. Now, most people don't do them. Why? Because, I don't have time to write affirmations. Oh, really? You don't have less than a minute? Like, you can't make 1 minute to write a sentence and then 1 minute to speak it out loud after work? Like when you're putting your head on your pillow, going to bed, you don't have time for that? You see? Okay. Because this is just human nature. Humans are just occupied. We have eyes. Our eyes take us out here. And whatever you focus on, that becomes your reality for that brief moment. Okay, people don't think like this, but, go do your research and you'll see. Okay, so when you're drawn to the car, now your vibration goes into that car. Now you're fixated on that car. Now your reticular activating system goes, oh, car. Okay, so it goes kind of deep, but what I'm really telling you is that human beings are highly impressionable beings. Okay, you have no idea of how intelligent you are. You have no idea of how susceptible you are to things, situations, okay, relationships, all of these things. You're very, very highly susceptible and impressionable. Okay, so when things happen, right, let's say you love something, let's say you repeat it again. I tasted this ice cream. I love this ice cream. I'm going to taste it one more time, right? I'm going to have it again tomorrow. Tomorrow you have it again. Next week, I think I'll have it again. Okay, now your subconscious is already forming a habit. At that point, it's forming a belief, and the belief is, I love this ice cream. Okay? So what does your subconscious do? It leads you in baby steps back to the ice cream because the ice cream becomes the target. It's the same with goals. It's the same with goals. It works the same in the positive. It works the same in the negative. It's as easy to form a positive habit as it is a negative habit. And when do we, want to do these things? When it becomes too problematic, when things become too painful, when things become too stressful, when we start living like this, when we start walking around like this. This means guarded. Okay, this means boundaries. When people say, you have to set boundaries, you have to set boundaries. You know what? When you're clear, when you're open, boundaries automatically fall into place. You know why? Because there's certain things that you will do and certain things you won't allow. It's just natural like this. But when you're living in a state of fear, when you're living in a state of defense, when you're living in a state of, I'm holding back, I'm withholding, right? You're in fear. And if you're in fear, what happens? If you're in fear, you're not all of those things. You're not open. You're not willing. Okay? You're not moldable. You're not teachable. All of those things. Okay? Now, when you're not teachable, when you're not, right? When you're not able to take instructions, when you're closed off to the world, when you're like this, okay, when you're in fear, okay, fear is the devil. Fear is the enemy. Fear is the opposition because you were born in love. When you're like this, okay, life is a challenge. When you're like this, life is a struggle. You hear people saying, right? They say it out loud. They speak it. They say the struggle is real. They write it. The struggle is real. They put it up on their social media. The struggle is real. The struggle is here. The struggle is here. Okay? You can free your mind. This is the prison right here. Once you free yourself from here, You free yourself from everything. Because this is where the prison is. Okay, now how does that happen? It happens in your subconscious. It happens in your subconscious because your subconscious starts repeating the cycle. It starts repeating the struggle. It starts learning what the struggle is, and it starts producing actions conducive to struggle. And then life becomes a living hell because now you're struggling all the time. Because now you're being given new struggle circumstances, new struggle items, right? New obstacles that represent struggle. What happens the other way? Well, the other way, right? The opposite. If you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So pursue what you do want. Pursue things that you enjoy. Pursue things that are good for you. Then your subconscious repeats that. Then your subconscious starts to feed you those things. Then your thought, right? A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Your thought goes into your subconscious as a program. Your subconscious feeds you more of that. Your subconscious goes, oh, okay, we're going to kick back today. Here's more kickback things to do, right? Otherwise, it's like, here's more struggle things to do. You want to struggle? Okay, your subconscious says, okay. Your subconscious does not know right from wrong. Your subconscious does not know good from bad. It does not judge. It takes what you feed it. So if you're feeding it struggle, it gives you more struggle. Like attracts like. It's the law of attraction. Hi, Lorianne. Good morning. Good morning. So when you get caught in that negative loop, when you get caught in that negative spiral, what happens? Well, it's very difficult to get out of it because you're speaking it into existence. Your actions will back it up. Your subconscious will produce actions conducive to your goal, and your goal will be struggle if that's your focus. Okay, so number one, if you're saying the struggle is real, if you're thinking the struggle is real, you will think it into being. You will bring it into being. You will bring struggle upon yourself. How do you let go of struggle? Focus on the opposite, whatever that is for you. For some people, it's relaxation. It's a day at the beach. For some people, it's a hobby. For some people, it's their job if you love what you do. So you should always choose to love what you do or to do what you love. Okay, because when you do what you love, it doesn't seem like a job. Okay, good morning, KB. Lorianne, do you have any questions I can answer? Karen, good morning, Karen. So we're on seven different platforms right now. We're on a platform in Europe. We're on TikTok. We're on, TikTok is very, their algorithm can pick up when I say other platforms. So, but we're on 7 platforms this morning. We're on 2 Facebook platforms, actually, on my homepage and on my business page. So, so we want to, go over things that will work against struggle, generosity, kindness, compassion, and love. Okay? Now, you know the difference between things that are, good morning, Karen. You know the difference between things that are anchored in love, right? And things that are not. Things that are anchored in generosity and things that are not. Things that are anchored in kindness and things that are not. Things that are anchored in compassion and things that are not. Okay? So these things are conducive to abundance. These things are conducive to an easy life or easier life. Life is never easy, but life can be easier. Okay, I don't struggle. I never struggle in my life. I don't struggle. I used to struggle. My 20s were a struggle. Till I got to 30, it was a huge struggle. Okay. There were other obstacles. There were irritating obstacles. There were other people that I had to work with. There were other people that I had to deal with. There were other situations that I had to deal with, but they weren't struggles. Okay, they weren't struggles. When you learn to deal with situations that are negative, or let's say bad, or let's say irritating, all of the above, you can free yourself. But first, you have to work with your subconscious, okay? You have to do oh, hey, Costas, James, good morning. Micah, good morning. But first, you have to condition your subconscious. Manifestation is your subconscious. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay, that's the way to achieve anything. I don't care what it is. Okay, if it's a job, if it's a girl, if it's a guy, if it's a whatever it is, husband, wife, whatever, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's your subconscious. You have to look in the mirror and understand just how magnificent this creation is. Most people don't know. Most people live their whole lives without knowing what a blessing they were. Okay? Good morning. Ah, you're in Athens. Costas. He's in Athens, Greece. Good morning. Nice to see you. Nice to see you here. Thank you for being here, Costas. Do you have a question? I'd be glad to help you as a life coach in this capacity. Manuel. Good morning, Manuel. Manuel in Belgium. Good morning. You can ask me a question there, Costas. Jay is our moderator, and she's not here yet, but she will be here. She's on the road right now. So you can ask me any question you want to. Athens, Greece. Wow, this is a blessing to be able to be in Athens. You're a director of cinema. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, that is really cool. So we have a director of cinema in Athens, Greece. Yeah. And my friend Manuel in Belgium. Good morning, Manuel. I hope you're doing well. You can ask me a question if I can help you with anything, Costas. I would be glad to help you. This is my community service that I do every morning for an hour. And I'm not here to sell you guys anything. I'm not here to sell you anything. Okay, if you want to be my client, fine, but I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to help. So you can ask questions. Let me check my Facebook for questions. I don't normally check the Facebook. I check it after the fact and answer you guys. Yeah, so you guys can leave questions in the comments, and I will answer, and then you can go back and check it later. That's always a better way to do it. Oh, you have COVID, Manuel. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you get well soon. I had COVID twice. It wasn't the first time. The first time it wasn't too much fun. The second time it was easy. But yeah, I hope you get well soon, my friend. And thank you so much for your hat. Yeah, that bumblebee hat. Yeah. So really, guys, it's important to be generous. Okay, and the reason why these things are important. Okay, generosity, kindness, compassion, and love. Okay, we don't, I don't go around being loving all day. We go in and out as human beings. We go in and out. Okay, but treat situations as they come up with love. Treat situations. Yes, thank you, Costas. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you very much. You're working in your garden and you're still sick, but you're working in your garden, Manuel. Good, very good. Yeah, you have such a nice place there. Such a nice place in Belgium. So like I was saying about generosity, kindness, compassion, and love. When we meet with a situation, when we're presented with a situation, the way you handle the situation sets you up for the next situation. Okay? And this is how you can create a better life step by step. Okay. Kalani. Aloha, Kalani. Aloha. Thank you, Kalani. Thank you. That's what I do for a living. Yeah, that's what I do. But anyway, so in Hawaii, I'm talking to my friends on Facebook. I decided to have a separate device for my Facebook. So in total, we have 7 platforms. We have 7 platforms that we're working on right now, going live on. And in Hawaii, I can tell you that we have this process. It's a process. It's called ho'oponopono. Okay, now ho'oponopono is very important because it clears everything when you make a mistake. Okay, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That's the way you do it. Okay, So Ho'oponopono is a very important Hawaiian concept and process. If you do something wrong to somebody, you say something wrong to somebody, let's say you do it by accident without thinking. We all do those things. Yeah, Kalani. Yeah. Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. What that does is it takes the eraser, like on a dry erase board, and it erases everything. I don't want to say chalkboard because that's too old school. Okay, but it erases everything. So what I have my clients do in the 4-step process, okay, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. In that 4-step process, during the meditation, it's Ho'oponopono. And I did this, I used to do this at the gym. I don't go to a gym that has a sauna anymore. But I used to sit in a sauna. It was really, really hot. Okay. And I used to do my Ho'oponopono. And I wasn't hot in the sauna. It was like I was insulated, right? I mean, I was sweating and everything, but it was like I was insulated. And I would just sit there like this, okay? Or I would hold my hands like this, okay? Similar to what yoga people do, okay? And these are mudras. This is a mudra. This is a mudra. Okay, we'll get into mudras one day. But I would sit in the sauna, and the sweat would be like insulation, and I would be cool inside. And and it was hot outside. It was like 116 degrees, 120 degrees. I don't know what it was. It was over 100 degrees. And I would sit there, and I would go over my Ho'oponopono. And this one guy saw me stay there for 40 minutes one day. He said, "Hey, you can die in the sauna like that." I said, no way. I said, I was doing my Ho'oponopono. Okay, now, I'm sorry, write it down. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Okay, Facebook, okay, TikTok. All right, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. First, I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to do it. Okay, or if I did it, I'm sorry for doing it. I see now that it's wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, please forgive me, right? You have to ask for forgiveness. Who are you asking it to? You're asking your creator, and you're asking yourself. Who are you forgiving? You're forgiving yourself. So you're saying these things to yourself and your creator. Okay? I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. You're doing it with gratitude because you're assuming that you're forgiven. Okay? So you're saying thank you. And then I love you. You're doing it with love. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Ho'oponopono. You can look it up. It's online. Dr. Joe Vitale does a lot of that, but you should look up Dr. Hugh Lin, Dr. Haleakala Hugh Lin. I know it's kind of a long, involved type of name. It's a Hawaiian name, Haleakala. It's also the name of a crater on Maui. Okay, but it's that. Okay, Dr. Haleakala Hugh Lin. He's the expert, and what he would do is he would sit outside. We have a hospital in Kaneohe that treats the mentally ill, and they have a unit that treats the mentally insane. And what he used to do was he used to sit outside, and he used to do the Ho'oponopono to clear, and they used to get well. Okay, so you can do this for a lot of purposes. Okay, but I suggest you do it for you, and when you make a mistake, just do that process and it will help you. Thank you, Costas. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you sharing. You slept 6 days? Oh boy. Slept last 6 days a lot. Yeah, Manuel, I wish I could sleep like that. How do you define nothingness? Okay, this is a good question. I like challenging questions because sometimes I don't know the answer. How do you define nothingness? What is nothingness? Nothingness. Is there such thing as nothingness? So Costas, in my understanding, even the space between everything is intelligent. Nothingness. What is nothingness? You'd be surprised when you examine either scientifically or metaphorically, when you begin to examine nothingness, you find that there is no nothingness. Yeah, you begin to see how these things happen. You begin, you're very welcome, Kalani. You're very welcome. Aloha, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, so even the space in between everything is intelligent. Okay, we have, yeah, it's a very good question. I do not define nothingness because I believe everything is intelligent. The air is made up of chemicals. So, I mean, there is a chemical breakdown of air, oxygen, and hydrogen. So, nothingness does not exist in our world. So it's not in our world. So I don't define it because there's nothing to define. It doesn't exist. Okay, aloha. Hey, YK Wang, sorry, YK Wang. Aloha, brother or sister. I cannot see the picture. It just says YK. I'm assuming it's a brother. Okay, aloha. Good morning. So I keep looking up because there's a camera up there for my Facebook. But anyway, so you know, generosity, kindness, compassion, and love. Okay, you need to exercise these things, sister. Okay, sister. All right, sister. Yes, sir. Okay. You need to define these things, and you need to exercise. Sorry, you need to exercise these things. You can exercise generosity. You know, in Hawaii, I noticed that people are very generous. People are very much more open. And I also noticed that the children, some of the children now, are a little bit more closed up. And the reason why I noticed this is because they're not as friendly as before. They're not as open as before. They're not as you know, and you have to take into consideration that many children are raised on these things and tablets and laptops, and this is isolation. Okay, this is not a human being, although you get human beings on here. Okay, but it's not the same. The vibration is not the same, and you don't get that vibration that you get when you're in person with somebody. Okay, but generosity, kindness, compassion, and love, okay, will eventually go from here, get someone from here to here, to here, to here, to here. Okay? Be generous with somebody and watch what happens. They start to open up. Be kind to somebody. Guess what happens? They start to open up. Be compassionate with somebody, right? Compassion just means you're putting yourself in their shoes. Okay? That you understand or you can identify with what they're going through. Okay? Compassion is you don't know their story. You don't know what they're going through. Some people are one tug away from a snap, okay? Just to put it in those terms, right? And try to show somebody love, and what happens? They open up. What is the opposite? If you hate somebody, they go like that. Okay, this is defense. This is you know, this is not necessarily offense. When they're closed up, they're in defense mode. They're protecting themselves. Okay. So that's why this is important, this opening up process. Okay, getting rid of fear. We get rid of it through the voice. If you look on our site, I'll show you our site, okay? And this is just a small kind flex. Okay, this is a small kind flex. But we have 44 5-star there. Like that. See, there we go. 44 5-star reviews. And part of this is pride, but it's not the kind of pride you think. It's the kind of pride that we exercise in our work because we make sure that we over-deliver. We make sure that we take care of people. We make sure that people are good. We make sure that we put people first. You know, that's very important. Good morning, Jake. Jay is here. Yay. Okay. Jay is our moderator, and she's on the job. She's on the job. She's a volunteer. She volunteers to moderate on TikTok, and so she's here. Anyway, so affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization diminish fear. Okay, because it changes your thoughts. Because fear is a choice. Fear is you choosing with your thoughts to think fearful thoughts. It's also part of your imagination. Okay? When your imagination starts getting carried away with you, right? When you don't control your mind will control you. When you don't control your thoughts will control, they will attack you. Your mind will attack you. Because you start imagining these things. But they come in the form of fearful thoughts. And when they come in the form of fearful thoughts, guess what happens? Thoughts become things. Okay, the thoughts become beliefs if you think it often enough, long enough. Okay, but human beings are very, very impressionable. Human beings are so impressionable. Okay, you can pick up a habit like that, good or bad, doesn't matter. Choose the good ones. Choose the good thoughts. Okay, I had to work with a lot of people that were always against everything I did. Like everything, like literally everything. I worked in the entertainment industry. In the entertainment industry, the industry itself attracts a lot of narcissists. Okay, there's a lot of narcissism there. It's not always easy to work your way through narcissism. Okay, because they don't care. They have no compassion. That's the way. That's the one key factor in identifying a narcissist, when they have no compassion. Okay. But I've always been a teacher. I've been a teacher forever. My parents were teachers. It's the family thing. It's teaching. But I've been a teacher forever. But in my heart, I wanted to sing. I wanted to make people laugh. I wanted to do all that stuff. So I went in that direction. But what I'm saying is, when you meet people like this, when you meet people, maybe you're in a relationship, maybe there's a little narcissism there going on. Maybe you feel left out. Maybe you feel like there's no compassion. In that case, okay, you need to really look at that, because that can be a problem. I get a lot of people who are recovering. I have a lot of people recovering from narcissism. Okay, it's a problem, because this enforces narcissism. This promotes narcissism to a new level. Okay, first it isolates you. If it isolates you, you don't have the same level of responsibility that you do in a personal reaction, because it's only here, right? You see? So yeah, there's a responsibility. On the phone, you say something to somebody, or you text something to somebody on social media, there's no responsibility. Okay? They may come look for you, but they may be in another place in the world. So you start learning narcissism. You start exercising narcissism. Okay? What's the opposite? Compassion. Exercise compassion. That's the antidote. Okay? Because too much narcissism and you become like this. Okay? I know. I worked with a lot of narcissists that are like this. Okay? They're insecure. Low self-esteem. This represents all of that. Because this is walking around in defense. This is holding yourself back from stuff. This, right, is projecting a lack mindset. What is this? This is abundance. This is you're open. When you're open to things, right, you can receive. If you're like this, you cannot receive. But if you're open, you can receive. Okay, so if you're sitting down and one hand is like this on one knee, and this hand is like that on the other knee, okay, and you have your eyes closed and you're looking up, that is the position for receiving spiritually. Okay? That is the receiving position. When you think of abundance and you think openness and you think receiving, you're going to start receiving, because your subconscious is going, oh, we're in receiving mode? Okay. We're going to receive? Okay. If you consistently strike out at people, right? Or you're consistently in offense mode. Where does offense come from? Offense comes from a good defense position. Okay, because when you're like this, right, you're not open, you're not receiving. It's easy to strike out from there. Very easy. It's easy to point out the negative things in life. It's easy to point out the negative things in someone else. It's easy to point the finger, right? You know, my great-grandmother used to say, you spit in the air, it'll fall back on your face. You know, so focus on this one. Focus on this. You know, I had to do this a long time ago. I had to start watching my speech because my subconscious was listening. I had to start being mindful. Okay, so we're going to use the word mindful. I had to start being mindful of the things I said and mindful of the things I did. Okay, because my subconscious is listening, because my subconscious is watching. So there's two different trains of subconscious. Okay, and I keep repeating, several of these things because a lot of people are just like, they haven't heard these things this way before. But there's two different trains of thought concerning the subconscious. Okay, number one, okay, it's a state of mind. If you talk to a psychologist, if you talk to a medical professional, they'll probably tell you that. Okay, that's one. But it's actually a culmination of all of your senses. If you talk to a spiritual person, they'll tell you that. It's like all of your senses, everything you record, all the data that you record. Okay, so if you want to look at it like a, computer, okay, because that's easy to understand because we all have to go through that now. So the frontal lobe of your brain is what I call, your processing. Okay, that's where you process all the thoughts. So this is your operating system, right? It processes everything all day long, okay? The thoughts that you think the most go into your subconscious, which is your hard drive, okay? So that's the hard drive. It's easy to understand. That's where the programs are installed, in your hard drive, okay? Now the superconscious, so there is only the conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The superconscious is the network. And that's what we call consciousness or God or, higher self, however you want to say it. Whatever label you want to put on that. Infinite intelligence, the unseen. There's so many terms for that. Now, a lot of people use those terms in their writings when they write a book because they don't want to say God. They don't want to say, because certain people get offended, right? So the reason why I run through all those labels is I don't want to offend anyone who, let's say, you don't believe in God, but you do believe there's some kind of intelligence out there. A lot of my clients are like that when I talk to them. But my clients are high performance professionals. Okay, and that's why I'm not here to sell anything. Okay, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give. I'm here to give you value. Okay, I'm giving of my time. I give 1 hour every morning. Okay, that's a lot of time when you add it up. That's 30 hours. That's 30 hours a month. That's a long time. Okay, that's a big chunk of time. But it's important that people start to wake up. Okay, wake up from what? How are we sleeping? Oh, you'd be surprised. There is societal hypnosis. Okay, all these things that condition us, all these things that have us believe certain things, that have us do certain things. Okay, there's a lot of stuff out there like that. The media shapes your thinking every day. Social media, media, written media, books. Okay, when you read a book, you're reading someone else's thoughts. You're reading someone else's story. You're reading someone else. When you listen to a song, you're listening to someone else's idea. Now, you may not be consciously aware, okay? But you're taking it all in. Your subconscious is registering all of that. Okay, let me see. We have a comment. Costas, do you believe that the universe has an intelligence higher than man, a God? Oh, definitely. But but it's not what we've been presented with, Costas. It's not the man with the beard in the sky. It's not that. Yeah, but it is an energy. And there is an opposition. There is an opposite energy. So there is an energy. So, let me say this again. There's only 3 steps down into negativity. Okay, from where you are. If you're in a house, if you're living that kind of what we call a normal life, maybe, there's only 3 steps. There's the street, there's prison, and then there's the graveyard. That's it. That's as far as you can go down. Now, if we look at it as going up, and we're going to go up, it's unlimited. Positivity is unlimited. Thank you, Leo. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's an energy. So the way we're presented with things and the way things are like 2 different things. It's very different. But when you call upon that energy, when you put that energy to work for you, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Because it's in here. God is in here. Okay? That energy is in here. Everything is in here. There's only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. That's all there is. Good morning, Billy. That's all there is. So, the superconscious is consciousness or God or that energy. I say God because it's easier to say that because more people are familiar. If you say superconscious to some people, they're like, what? But they believe in God. I know a lot of people that believe in God that don't believe in themselves. They believe in God. They believe that Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within, right? And he wasn't the only one who said that. Krishna said that. A lot of people said that. A lot of prophets said that. A lot of people through the ages have said that. They point to in here. Nothing's out there. The only thing that's out there is nature and things from someone else's in here. That's all that's out there. Okay? But even the blades of grass are intelligent. Even the blades of grass are intelligent. So, go figure, right? How can you believe in God and not believe in yourself? How can you believe in God and not exercise that power and make things happen for yourself? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. You have to do all 4. If you're too lazy, right, and you just don't do it, or you think it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter. It's not working. I can tell you it works, and I can show you. It works. Well, this is the small one, and I have the big one here. Excuse me while I bend down to show you, but yeah. So these are affirmations. This is not journaling. Okay, these are affirmations. Okay, and I have several books in storage. Like I think I have I did a video about 10 years of affirmations, and I wanted people to see. It looks crazy. It looks crazy, but what would you rather do? Live a crazy life? Live a life that goes like this, that goes like that, that goes like that? Or enjoy something smooth, enjoy something fluid, enjoy something that more like God meant you to live, right? It's in scripture all over the place. In the Bible, it's Mark 11:24. Ask, believe, receive. When you pray, you're asking. When you're wishing, you're asking. When you make an intention, you're asking. Okay, but when you're saying something against somebody, when you're doing something negative to someone else or something else, or doing something wrong, or having negative thoughts, you're still marrying intention with emotion. So that's why it goes like this. Because now it's going like this. Then you release it, it goes up. You keep thinking the thought, you keep going like that. And you wonder why you go like this. You wonder why things like. And then what do? Well, we go to professionals and they give us medicine. Then we start taking the medicine. What does the medicine do? It gives us side effects. And, I'm not knocking the medical community, okay? Some of those things are necessary to straighten out, if the ship is going like this, or let's say like this, right? Like a rudder is going like that. Sometimes it straightens it out like that. And then you decrease and let it go. What is the role of desire in our life? The role of desire in your life, Costas, is to bring you what you want, to get you to where you need to be. Part of that is your desire because you have free will. Part of that is that desire, okay? Like for me, I wanted to be an entertainer, but I was a teacher first. So I got pulled back into teaching. But that was my life path. So you have a life path, Costas. But you also have desire, and you can achieve all of your desires, everything. I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. But then, God said, nope, you go back and teach. You go over here. I wanted to stay in entertainment and do this because it was fun. I was making people laugh. I like to do that, but God said, no, go back. Now you go back over here. You had your fun. Now you go back over here. Because your life path will unfold. But your life path will only unfold naturally when this one is clear. Okay? Affirmations, meditation, visualization, and vocalization. So the role of desire is a natural thing built into human beings. Okay? And by the same token, when you achieve something, right, it's never good enough. When you achieve something, you want more. Tomorrow, one of the people that I've studied under, right? He said if you give a human being the moon today, tomorrow he wants Mars because he already has the moon. Okay, is the desire deep inside of one and life mission? I don't. Can you clarify that for me, sister? Is the desire deep inside of one a life mission? It can be. Be a little bit more, ask me a more specific question so I can address it. Make it a little bit more specific. Is the desire deep inside? So you have a life path. You have a life path. Your life path will unfold naturally if you allow it. Okay, now if you're constantly fighting your life path, you will probably go back and forth because you will still produce things from your life path. But it won't be as easy because you're gonna be, it's like this. You're gonna be going like this. You're gonna go, no, I wanna do this. And your life path is going, no, come back here. I wanna do this. No, come back here. Believe everyone has a mission? Yeah, definitely. We all have. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But in order for that mission to materialize, in order for that mission to happen, this one has to be clear. And when I mean clear, let me define clear. Okay, the absence of anxiety, the absence of fear, the absence of doubt. Okay, because these things, doubt, fear, overthinking. Well, overthinking and anxiety are the byproducts of fear. Okay, so all the negative emotions are rooted in fear. Is desire a lack issue? No. Well, it can be. Desire can be. Desire can imply that you don't have, but desire doesn't have to be a lack issue. Are we missing? Let me see. Sorry. Are we missing something and I want it? Not necessarily. You don't desire because you're in lack. Sometimes one does not know and therefore just feels the desire to. Can you clarify that for me, YK? Sometimes one does not know and therefore just feels the desire, does not know what? Does not know their mission? Is that what we're talking about, the mission? Just clarify for me that, please. So when you desire, like I desire things that I don't have physically, but I write intentions for them and they show up. It's always showed up. I was telling the story about my Waikiki show. You know, there were no sponsors. Nobody wanted anything to do with me for the Waikiki show. And I decided to, I had inspired thought, and the inspired thought was pay for it myself. Not know the mission. Yeah, you discover the mission. Yeah, so of course, I know what you mean now. So yeah, so sometimes you don't know what the mission is, but you desire things. You're desiring things not knowing why you're desiring it. You're gravitating to something. You gravitate to things. Yeah, that's correct, YK. You got it. You gravitate to things. You're being pulled in a certain direction. Okay, and this is God showing you, or however you believe, whatever you believe, whatever your belief system is, it's that pulling you here for your purpose. Now, people need to find their purpose. Okay, you need to find your purpose. When you find your purpose, it's easy. You know, my purpose was teaching, but I wanted to entertain. So I always taught and entertained at the same time. And the funny thing was, I ran into one of my voice students. I used to teach, well, I still teach voice. Sure, no problem, YK. My pleasure. You can message me anytime too, or you can ask me questions there. I'll message you and give you the answer. You can just ask more questions. Feel free. So anyway, I did multiple careers because I have ADHD and I have to keep my brain busy. You know, so I desired to do different things. I had different interests. And I fed all of my desires. Everything I wanted to do, I did. And when I did my Waikiki show, there were no sponsors. Nobody was backing me. There were some people that, you know, were very, I want to say they would have been very happy if I would have failed. But I made a commitment, and I said, I'll pay for it my damn self. That's what I said. I'll pay for it my damn self. And I spoke it into existence. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I spoke it into existence. And I committed. Now, when you make a commitment, okay, your higher self or God or however you believe, the superconscious, works with the subconscious. And the subconscious is the one that takes baby steps towards your goal. The superconscious is the one that brings people, you know, brings people into play. And all of a sudden, oh, you meet so-and-so. All of a sudden, you have another opportunity. All of a sudden, this happens, that happens, and then you get your thing, right? And for me, the only thing was committing. And then, you know, I had multiple businesses, but one of the businesses, the wedding and party business, started picking up. And it was weird because it didn't normally pick up that time of year. It was early in the year. It was like January. And the contracts just kept coming. And so we ended up paying for the Waikiki show with the contracts from the wedding and party business. And that's another thing, too. If I would have stayed as a gigging musician, you know, I respect gigging. I got Billy on my Facebook. How's it, Billy? And I really care about Billy. And the reason I care about Billy on my Facebook is because he is like a multifaceted talent. Multifaceted. This guy can do anything. He can play instruments. He can do voices. He can sing. He's a great singing voice. Very, very talented. Okay, and so I always answer his emails the best I can and offer him the best that I have to offer as far as you know, my perspective on things, right? But the thing about gigging musicians, right? I could have been one. I was one, and then, you know, I felt, right? And this was intuitive thought, and you have to follow intuitive thought. And I thought, well, if I stay like this, I'm just gonna have this. This is all I'm gonna be able to do. So it took a little marketing, it took a little radio, it took a little of other things, and then it made it possible. Okay. So what I'm telling you is, be willing to step outside the box. Be willing to trust your crazy ideas. Be willing to go do other things. Okay. Be willing to do that. Because it's not just about your goal. Sometimes you have to accept that other things are coming to get you here. Okay, to get you to your goal, you have to do other things sometimes. Sometimes you have to be a little creative, and embrace other things that will eventually get you there. Okay, so we have to go. We have to say goodbye to our international audience. Costas, Rage. Regia. Sorry if Kevin, Manuel, Lawyer 1257. Okay, but yeah. So same time tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. It's 8:05 a.m. I went a little bit over. It's 8:05 a.m. Hawaii time right now. Do I believe there are aliens on Earth? It's possible. It's possible. Personally, I don't put my faith in that or anything, but it's possible, Costas. Join us tomorrow, Costas, because I have to go. So we'll see you guys. TikTok's going to cut me off pretty soon, but we'll see you guys. Take care, and aloha from Hawaii. All right. Okay, Facebook, it's another end of another day. Thank you. Billy, thank you for being here. No worries, bro. I got you. Always got you, Billy. I believe in you. You're a monster talent. You're a huge talent, and you're going to do big things. You're going to do big things. I believe in you, brother. Karen, mahalo from Las Vegas. All right. YK, ahui ho. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for being here. Aloha.